Welcome to Too Many Games, where the more you play, the more you win. I'm your host, Chuck. With me is Travis.
Hello.
And let's get into it.
Let's get right into it, man. So we've been spending the first like 15 minutes or whatever just going off talking about fucking movies and random news stories and just everything, and then finally it just clicked and we're like, all right, we should probably start the recording,
right? But we don't like repeating ourselves, so we're not going to cover those topics. We're going to cover completely other topics.
Right? You really missed out not being in either one of our rooms. It's completely on you at that point, honestly.
Right. So I want to start off by saying I finished the series Arcane, because last week when we recorded, I had only watched the first episode before we recorded. So I finished it. It's fucking amazing.
I love that idea, and for me it was so hard to get it. Like, it was so hard for me to get into it.
Okay.
I really wish that I would have so everything I've heard about people or people saying things about it is like, it's great, it's an amazing fucking show. I feel bad now, like I need to go back and check it out, but I think that like the cringe factor was too high originally.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of what pushed me off on it, and then I finally sat down and watched it, and it's like, I mean, part of me is like sad I didn't watch it at the time it was hot, but the other part of me is happy that I kind of like let it temper down, so I'm not like in the middle of it all, you know?
Yeah. No, I get that as well. I think that was another thing, is like it was huge, and I watched like part of an episode and I was like, this is some cringy ass like crappy. I just didn't get into it, and now I've only heard good things, and I'm really excited to go back and try it again and like actually dig my teeth into it.
I mean, I will say, okay, on first watch, like, it's fucking amazing. I love how they established the story of the specific characters they decided to choose, how they're slowly like building up into basically what the game, the League of Legends game is kind of like set around. But at the same time, when you look back and like try to like think of like it in the terms of a repeat viewing, it's like it's a lot of story buildup. It's excellent story, but it's a lot of story buildup, and you get these like flashes of fights, and it's not until like the very last couple episodes that people have their weapons, their iconic weapons. So
right. Well, spoilers.
Oh no, it's like it's an origin story or something.
Is full spoilers, does Jin show up?
No.
All right. I don't think I could watch it.
They do show Tryndamere for a second.
What do you mean for a second? He's not in the show?
I mean for a second.
So the characters are like what, Jinx and Vi and nobody?
It starts with the main cast is Jinx and Vi. They showcase Heimerdinger, Victor, and Jace. Those are your two opposing sides. Is Heimerdinger, Jinx, or Heimerdinger, Jace, and Victor are kind of the elites in the
good scientists
club. They're the rich people. They live in the upper city.
Yeah.
And then you have Jinx and Vi who live in the lower city.
Yeah. Street trash.
Yeah. So for the most part, everybody around them is kind of unique in the sense that while they help propel a lot of the plot and the story, and they have excellent setups and stuff, they're also meant to be like emotional
sacrifices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, also Caitlyn.
Oh, of course. No, Caitlyn's got to be there.
Yeah. Caitlyn's kind of the bridge between the two worlds.
Yeah. So no Warwick?
Nope.
No Singed?
Nope.
Wow.
So
I thought that would have been like huge plot points. I thought that was going to be the show. It's like
uh
Singe teaching Warwick.
they never like
doing...
call out Tryndamere, but it's like I recognize one of his skins is like one of those origins skins, you know, that they released. It's like that's Tryndamere. uh and then there was fuck, who was it? There's like one other person that was kind of referenced, but Singe was kind of referenced, I feel like.
Really?
They never mention his name, and he's kind of like this shady scientist in the show, but I feel like it's Singed. I may be wrong. In the future, they may give him a different name. But
yeah, so I just looked up apparently there's a lot of fucking Easter eggs in Arcane.
Oh yeah.
Like a huge amount, like all the items stashed everywhere, all the different things. Some of them are like so impossibly hard to notice that it doesn't really matter.
It's
like
one of those if you know kind of things, but it's also they don't pull them out and like throw them in your face.
Yeah. So even one of them I'm seeing right now, which looks like the coolest one. You remember Gentleman Cho'Gath?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. First off, like that's such a cool idea for a skin where you just take like the biggest, bloodthirstiest, goofiest, monstrous, horrorist thing, and then you dress him up real nice, and you give him like a complete voiceover where he's like super nice. Like it was God, I love Gentleman Cho'Gath. I'm so sad my account's permabanned. Actually, I'm not sad at all. I'm really glad that
talking about you're using my account anyway.
I know I haven't used it in years, actual years, but there's this picture of an Easter egg of Gentleman Cho'Gath, and it's literally like all the characters walking through a building that's all dilapidated, and then one of the pictures that's faded in the corner is an image of Gentleman Cho'Gath. So like that is so hard to see that you wouldn't. I mean, maybe whenever I'm actually watching it, I'll like check it out, or like it'll pop out, or I'll go, oh my God, that's a building, and then start looking for Gentleman Cho'Gath. But otherwise, like, how do you catch that?
I'm rewatching it, studying frame by frame,
like everyone else. Right. No, so as soon as I saw that, I was like, I know someone else already did the work, so I just had to type in like Arcane Easter eggs.
So, anyways, that's a great series. Got to check it out. It's in just under a week, it pushed itself into my top 10, and I can't stop listening to the soundtrack. So,
wow.
It's one of those where it's like the music used is not my typical pantheon, but the way it's used in the show makes it some of my favorite stuff. And that's usually how I pick my music is how if someone uses it very good in a movie, show, video game.
Right. Well, no, then it becomes, I get that. And it like stands out.
Also, so this weekend is San Diego Comic-Con. So we're getting a bunch of trailers and content and all kinds of shit going on. And we get our first look at the upcoming Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine.
Oh, yeah. I have to. I mean, that movie, I know that like we talked about it a little bit before, but even in the first 4 seconds of the trailer, there's so many things that are happening, and it's so jam-packed with like good Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like beyond the was it 2000 movie that was so
snails.
It's like not even so bad. It's good. It's like it's
actually
worse than
an
Uwe Ball movie.
Which is saying something because that dude fucking blows it.
Before this trailer, it's like all I've ever heard was like rumors that they were writing a script for a new Dungeons and Dragons movie. I didn't even know anyone was attached to it or anything. Like this was like one of those shadow productions where everybody was keeping it hidden, I guess.
And doing a goddamn good job about it.
Right.
I'm the last person in the world to be like a Matt Mercer fanboy or to like really get into like Critical Role or something, but I've watched there's like a YouTube channel that does a game for Dungeons and Dragons called Rule Lawyer. Right? Okay. So they'll get like a scenario and they'll give you like different panes, like like a storybook of like 5 different panes of action, and then they'll narrate and they'll say, okay, Drakmor the Pit Fiend rolls initiative, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And then the objective is the contestants are all try to go through and, like call out the mistakes.
Okay.
Call out the mistakes and rule lawyer it, right? And so Matt Mercer's episode, which is, like the host of Critical Role, he's an actual fantastic dungeon master. But what I realized from that is like, that's actually like all he does. His whole entire life is orbiting around playing Dungeons and Dragons, and because of that,
if you're good at something, ask for money. By the way, we have a Patreon set up that
No, you said if you're good at something. If you pity us, we have a Patreon. No. So him going through the rules lawyering thing, he found something that the makers of the show didn't account for in his rule lawyering. And so like just that above and beyond, he knows exactly what the fuck he's talking about. Now, I also feel like he's capable of making a plot or capturing the feeling of like 5 people playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I think that's what the movie really needs to be, instead of just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's probably just going to be like a great action movie with Dungeons and Dragons backdrops, right? And like Dungeons and Dragons like buzzwords like lightning bolt and shit, and they'll name drop a bunch of the casters like Mordekainen and Tensor and all these like really old names that means, so like people that play D&D, they'll go, oh my god, they mentioned Tensor's transmogrification discs or whatever. Tensor's, so I haven't played D&D for a while. My names are off, but if they don't capture that and it's just a really good movie with D&D like set pieces and stuff, I think it'll still be really good. But I really, really, really want it to play out like a group of people that are playing characters, not like actors playing the characters, but like
you want it to be as accurate as possible, so all the fans who play the game will be excited to watch it. But you also want it to be like D&D light, so that anybody who's just into like fantasy or just wants to watch a movie on a weekend and has no idea what Dungeons and Dragons are, they're not like, what the hell's a hand of holding? What the fuck are they talking about? I mean, I think it's cool. Like, what was the last Michelle Rodriguez movie? Is it the Fast and the Furious movies? Like, she disappeared for a while there, and now they have her in this as a barbarian, and that's pretty cool.
So that barbarian thing, it kind of got me just a little, like I don't want to be that guy. It's like, oh, she can't be a barbarian. She has, but the way in the trailer where they showed her like manhandling a guy, and I mean literally just like he was weightless.
She body slams him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the person looked like absolutely weightless. I think that was really cool in the sense that they're doing the fantasy part of it. Like, I mean, traditionally, like a barbarian is strong because they have muscles, and like, I mean, that's like basic physiology, right? You're really strong.
I mean, big with muscles. The way Michelle Rodriguez looks in this movie, I think she could literally manhandle me like it shows in this without CGI. Like she could just pick me up by the waist and like fling me across the room. Like,
we're not particularly giant men, though.
I mean, you're a tall stick. I'm pretty weighty, okay?
You've got some girth.
It's mostly like central mass, but still.
I've never heard you say something more that sounded like it should come out of Mac's mouth. It's all central mass. I'm not fat, damn it.
And they got the like girl from It to play a tiefling that changes into an owlbear. That's pretty cool.
That owlbear scene was ridiculously cool. I don't think you see enough action shape shifting, and I feel like CGI and normal like technology is caught up enough that you could have a character in a movie like this like be in the middle of a huge action scene and then jump and land on an actual horse that exists and then ride off on it and like actually have it look natural instead of like just painted on image.
Right.
That sounded really
And
sloppy. I just took a monster hit, but like when I watched the only thing I didn't like, I mean, not the only thing, there was, obviously I have multiple opinions about all this stuff, but they actually just name dropped the owlbear just to like, it seems so like cringy, right? Like,
well,
it
again,
is
we go into the like, it's obviously an owlbear. They at least named it right so that the people who play D&D can be like, okay, that is actually an owlbear. Because I mean, we've gone over like, we have had a bunch of media in the past that like showcase, say, um, uh, a creature that is the clone of Superman and has all the powers of Superman, and then they call it Doomsday, and it's not actually, that is not the origin story of Doomsday. That is not even how Doomsday looks. But I mean, so you have that link. They really where it's
can we go back and talk about Doomsday? That's so sad.
So I mean, they got the look of the owlbear right. They actually name dropped it as owlbear, which is right. So you got the D&D fans involved. It's like, okay, even though he has to name drop it, it's like at least they got it accurate, And then you have the aspect of the name dropping so that everybody who doesn't know what the fuck is going on, they're like, why did that girl just change it to a bear thing? And then the character's like, is that an owlbear? And it's like, oh, okay, well, now I know what it's called, but that doesn't explain why she changed it to it. I guess I'll have to watch the movie.
So
bing, bang, boom, marketing.
the big thing to it, and I don't like the rule oriented part of it, or like the fucked up part, is an owlbear isn't an animal. Druids can't be owlbears.
Well, she's like, I don't think she's a druid though.
No, she's 100% like a wild shaped druid.
She's a tiefling something.
Yeah, she's a druid. I mean, just on like just based on like D&D alone, first off, there's like no one who traditionally changes shape outside of druids, and druids very specifically are like wild shape druids that.
Okay, she is. Yeah. Sophia Lillis is dork, a druid, and is a tiefling.
Tieflings, that's kind of a weird one. Tieflings are like the most common race in D&D because they're like the Deadpool, like edgelord type of race, because they're from demonic heritage, and everyone wants their character to be really cool and edgy. So like, yeah, my character's a tiefling, like there's some demonic blood. And so I can't tell you how many times I've started, like, even people who don't play D&D, and I'm like, hey, you want to play some D&D, and like make a character, like, oh my god, tieflings look so cool. It's like, all right, another tiefling. Like, yep, you discovered it.
Well, have you heard the discourse that is happening since the trailer dropped?
No.
So she's a tiefling, right? Which you just explained is kind of demonic origin type thing. Everyone's throwing a fit that she doesn't have red skin.
No, that's, I mean, that doesn't even like track as far as D&D goes. One of the coolest things about tieflings is like you get to pick. I mean, they could be.
I know there's people who are like really into D&D who are defending it. They're like, you can pick your skin color and stuff. And yes, tieflings can have the red skin, but they can also be, fair skinned.
They could look exactly like a human being, or like exactly like anything, but, and have no like overwhelming signs.
Someone explained it as since tieflings came out with that skin option, and is like the humanoid with the kind of like reddish skin, most people who pick tiefling pick that skin color, making the fair skin the rarer of the choice for that race.
Right. So it would make sense that she would have red skin, because they all have red skin, because the community
the community
made them pick red skin.
But it's not like it's against lore.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, albino whatever of every species exists, or like blacked out colors of every species exist. It's just that one's kind of I don't want to say like a fan service necessarily, but as like I was talking about, is druids can't turn into owlbears. Like, it's like having like a cleric cast a fireball. You know,
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't really like, I'm not going to sit here and like bang my little Dungeons and Dragons mallet and like get to the forums and start yelling at people and stuff. It's just like one of those things that it could have just been a bear, right? But then
Yeah.
it would have just been, people would have gone, oh, that's just a bear. Where's the Dungeons and Dragons part to it? Like, that's just a bear. But then in
Oh, they could have
reality,
come across an owlbear in the woods and she turns into a bear to fight. Then you have bear on owlbear action.
see, that would have been awesome. Like, you could have done that and then also transponded from the D&D part and have her, because it would be really cool action, but have her rapidly switch, you know, like go from a bear to jump and attack and like knock the owlbear down and then turn into like a cougar and start like clawing at it or something, you know, or like an alligator and fucking chomp down. What would have been really cool is if they picked the fan favorite versions, because, you know, everything that ever exists, people have done all the background information and all the number crunching and all the detailed hardcore shit. And so people have done that with the choices you can choose as a druid to shapeshift into. And so because of that, there's like a tier list, right? And so if she would have chosen the like number 1 tier choice of druids, that would have been such a nod to like actual Dungeons and Dragons gamers, instead of just turning into an owlbear, which is fucking awesome. Like, owlbears are such a cool creation. I think the combination of those two beasts, like, how hard is it to combine 2 animals and have them not be lame? Like a girafficorn, or like,
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much,
what is this, Avatar? The Last Airbender?
exactly, right? And so you get like owlbear's a cool fucking combo. And so I get why they added it in, but it's also a 20-minute rant about me talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
The other thing is, when I first saw the trailer, you know, it says Honor Among Thieves, and it's like, oh, we're doing another Thieves plot again.
I was
like
about
the other movie, and you know, watch it, and it's all cool and stuff, but it's like, Jesus, he kind of even dresses almost the same as that first cast of stuff. And then it's
dresses like almost exactly like it. And it's such a,
after repeat viewings and stuff, it's like, oh, he's actually playing a bard. Oh, it's like, okay, well, I'm actually okay if like Chris Pine's playing a bard, because he would be a bard character. Like, so, he's got those beautiful eyes and chiseled jaws. He like, I would not believe him as like a fighter or a thief or anything, but the bard, okay, yeah, I can see that.
I could see the bard or paladin. Honestly, I think the paladin choice was kind of bizarre, but really good in a really certain way, where your traditional paladin would be like almost Chris Pine, like a bigger, slightly more muscular version of Chris Pine would be like your traditional, like basically what I'm trying to say is like a tall, muscular white guy.
Right.
And I mean, like, blonde hair. I mean, as close to like a Nazi as you can get without actually just being a Nazi, because, you know, obviously a paladin and being Nazi's a terrible plan.
And I guess one last thing to touch on would be, this is like the first iteration of a fantasy movie where we get a fat dragon.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny.
I thought it was really neat. The first dragon they showed had to have been a black dragon. Because it had to have been like acid breath, right?
Yeah.
But it was like acid breath in a really cool way, where it wasn't like super fantastical. It was just death. It was just fucking death. Like, yes, dragons breathe death. It doesn't matter if it's lightning or sludge or fire or whatever. It's a gigantic mythical creature that was like artificially engineered in this fake universe to kill shit.
So like this dragon that's later in the trailer, he's just like, he's so fat, it looks like he could barely lift himself off the ground.
Wait,
it's like the fat dragon from like How to Train Your Dragon, where it's like really big body and really tiny wings.
I missed the fat dragon. Hold on.
No, I mean, I have it on the screen right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and so that's the
so chubby.
Yeah,
he's a chubby little kitty.
He's a chubby little kitty. You a chubby little kitty.
So yeah, cool movie, comes out next March. Moving on would be The Last of Us Part 1 remake, they came out with a gameplay features trailer, and everyone's losing their mind over it. Not in the good sense of losing your mind. I mean, we touched a bit on it last week. Talking about Rockstar dropping the Red Dead 1 like remastered on the Red Dead 2 engine and stuff. That's basically what this is they just took it a step further and actually like rebuilt everything, like redesigned all the models and stuff, redesigned the facial structures, got other actors in to play some of the parts. And using the Last of Us 2 engine and kind of streamline some of the mechanics so that they're more similar to Last of Us 2. Like they weren't that far removed from each other. It was just kind of like streamlining sense. So it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like Naughty Dog and the development team are sitting there talking about this and how exciting it is that this is coming out. And it's just, they're trying to justify the $70 price point.
Yeah, which is a hard fucking sell.
Yeah. And they're talking about this like this is a new game, and it's like it's so immersive and you can do all these things. It's like you've said it's the same game and you haven't changed any of the story elements and like none of the script or anything. So it's the exact same game we've played and you just rebuilt it. This is the like how they did the Crash remake, it's right. Literally the same game with a new engine. And
right, but that was
like much. Yeah, it was far more removed and stuff. But like if you played the new Crash, it's still like the same mechanics. Like it's still the same buttons you use. It right, still has the same kind of physics. It still has all that shit. It's just brand new graphics. And
that wasn't a $70 game either, was it?
Well, it was, but it was the first 3 Crash games.
Oh, it was premium price?
Yes.
Oh,
but shit. It was 3 games being remade in the new style. So, I mean, it's more than one game. And this is also not going to have the multiplayer stuff. So they're kind of removing something from the original game and still trying to justify the full price. I'm one of those that's like, okay, if you do a sequel and you drop the multiplayer function in order to spend more time on the story, like that, I don't feel like you're giving us less than what you gave us before kind of thing, because you're like focusing more on the story and the content there and you're giving us something new. But this is like, this game already had all that stuff and now you're removing stuff to resell it. And like, why? This is so much so it should have been like a $40 game. And given like how many people have bought the first game and even the remaster that came to the PS4 is like, if you have that on your account, you should get like maybe $20 to get the new version, Yeah. This is not $70 worth of a game. But I don't know. People are getting like really weird about it though. And in the sense of the kind of like the same kind of weird toxicity from the second game, where it's like, if you just don't want to play the game, don't play the game. This is like, if you don't want to pay $70, don't pay $70,
Really?
But yeah, that's basically what it comes down to, is if you're throwing a fit that they gave us the first game again, but charging us premium price, then just play the first game. You don't need to buy this. That's the meat of it. Like, but there's this weird thing where there's this like side discourse going on where even though they've like redid the graphics and some of the mechanics and stuff to kind of streamline it, they didn't give Joel the ability to like do the dodge or the going prone mechanics and stuff that The Last of Us 2 had with Ellie. And everyone's like, I can't believe you're not giving us this. Not putting dodge in is basically ruining the game. You should have put it in, kind of thing. And it's like, Joel is like 50. He ain't dodging shit. Like, honestly, at that age, you're basically kind of stuck in the you have enough muscles to take down the person in front of you. You're not like duck, dodge, dip, dive, and duck, you know, or whatever the fuck that is. It's like,
if you can dodge a clicker, you can dodge a ball. Necessary? Is it necessary to drink my own urine? No, but it's sterile, and I like the flavor.
So I don't know. It's just, that's such a weird thing to be so anal about. It's like not giving Joel a dodge. It's like, he's fucking 50, man. You try to dodge when you're 50. Go up to your grandpa and throw a dodgeball at him. See how well he gets out of the way. You know.
Someone writes a review about The Last of Us. Like, I threw a wrench at my dad's head. He looks about the same age as Joel. He couldn't dodge it. It's a very realistic game.
Anyway,
I made a shiv and stabbed my dad 4 or 5 times. The game's very unrealistic. A shiv definitely lasts at least 10 to 11 stabs.
Well, I mean, on that end, we could get into like gameplay knives versus realistic knives, because I feel like Resident Evil 2 takes the cake on that, where it's like, you stab 3 zombies, your knife is broken. It's like, but previous games, the knife was practically invincible. So anyway, obviously I'm gonna buy it. I fucking love Last of Us. I'm not happy about the $70 price tag, but I'm still probably going to spend 60 plus hours in this game, probably getting the platinum, you know, because I love the game itself. It is what it is. I'm not saying it's for everyone. I'm not saying you should even buy it if you've never played The Last of Us before. If you don't feel like this game has all the features, then don't buy it. Simple, you know. It's very simple, because whatever these companies put out, you know, they could sit there and put all kinds of glitz and glamour on it. They could put sprinkles in the box, you know. They could even say, hey, if you buy this game, we won't shoot this kitten. But at the end of the day, it's still you holding the money and handing it to them. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that.
You're also, you're not responsible for that kid to begin with.
Right. So just, it's just one of those weird things that's come about where it's like everybody feels like they're entitled to buying everything, so everything needs to be catered to them, and it's like, you could just not give them money. I don't know. Yeah.
Just don't give them money.
I saw a weird thing on Reddit where it's like, what is your like favorite character from this series or favorite moment from this series? And they listed out The Last of Us Remastered, Last of Us Remake Part 1, and then Last of Us Part 2, and then the Last of Us HBO series. And it's like, 3 of those games are the same fucking thing. What are you This isn't a cinematic universe. There's 2 games. 2 in an upcoming HBO series that we haven't seen yet because it comes out next spring. 2 games.
Yeah,
I don't care how many times they re-release it. You're not sitting there going like, what's your favorite character in Skyrim or Skyrim 5 Game of the Skyrim or Skyrim Game of the Year edition or Skyrim Gold edition or Skyrim
if
Enhanced
Skyrim
edition
wins
or
Game of the Year,
right?
just Skyrim just comes back and they donkey Super Mario 2's it, and they're just like, you know what? It's like Skyrim.
But it's the same fucking game. You can't sit there and be like, well, what's your favorite point of the Skyrim series. It's the same fucking game. Anyway,
Oh, my favorite part was
that's a
whenever
little mini rant. Anyway,
my favorite part was whenever Skyrim fought the dragon.
I liked it when there were mountains.
Whenever Skyrim climbed all the mountains.
uh
I like the idea of like your grandma just calling like whatever what the dragonborn just calling him Skyrim. Your Skyrim looks really tough.
Oh, look at you playing your little Nintendo game.
Shit.
Enough of the news. Let's get on to actual game talk, I guess.
No, we've been there, man.
Do you want to go first or?
Yeah, no shit. So I've got about like a 2-minute review.
Go for as long as you want. What's your game this week?
Legend of Zelda 2 Link's Adventure. Which is actually a super fun game, but it also kind of breaks the norm for Zelda games, right? So this in particular, whenever this game came out, Legend of Zelda, 1987 Legend of Zelda came out. Whatever, the original Legend of Zelda game came out, and it's this stage by stage, like isometric. You turn right and then you attack right. You turn forward, you attack forward, shit like that. Now, Link's Awakening, Legend of Zelda 2, is a side scroller. Like, if in your head you could think about like a Kung Fu, right? Like the character model's like the same size. You traverse screens going left to right, and this fucking game is so much fucking fun.
This is a really old first Nintendo game.
Right. So yeah, I could back up a little bit more and like let's see, Link's Adventure. It also came out in 87. It was January 14th, 1987. No, that's crazy. Anyway, so this game is like kind of an incredibly hard side-scrolling Legend of Zelda based game, but I really like it. It was really fun. Unfortunately, I ran into the issue of I was playing it on my Switch, and I almost beat the game. Like, I was so close. I'd spent like hours and hours and hours playing this game, just like laying there playing this game, having a good time on like a weekend, and I didn't really think about it. And one of my friends was like, hey, play Fall Guys with me. And so I installed Fall Guys and played around without thinking about it, kind of drunk. And it closed the program, and I didn't have a save state for like hours and hours and hours. I had one save state, and it was like right before the first dungeon, like 7 hours before. Yeah. So
well, you said you like the game though, right? So
it's fucking fast.
Play it again.
I really want to. Oh my god, dude! It's one of those things where I'm gonna have to wait like maybe a month, and then a month will pass, and I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm ready to play Legend of Zelda again, just because I haven't done it again. So it's really kind of like a fucked up situation, but the game itself, super fucking fun and super fucking hard. There's so many, this is going to be a very non-traditional review, but
dude, our entire show is non-traditional.
Right. And this one in particular has gone great. Like, just
our traditional standards is going to be non-traditional on this review.
Nailed it. Fucking nailed it. No, the game itself, there's all these, like, I would say minuscule or hard to notice, like, puzzle pieces that move to the next piece that tell you what to do. And if you don't talk to like the right villager and then like decipher their riddle to know where to go next, you're not going to figure it out. And I tried so hard to never look up anything for this game and just try to figure it out on my own. And I looked up one thing. I did look up one thing. It was like the location of where this guy was in the forest, because I thought I found it and I walked all in this area and I was super low on health and I didn't want to go back to the town and talk to the person. It's so weird because in this game, there's in every town, like major town, there's two people. There's an old lady who refills your magic and there's a young lady who refills your health. And that young lady who's refilling your health is 100% fucking you. That's sex. That lady is a very nice lady.
There's a lot of brothels in medieval times.
Well,
we can't talk bad about the people who work for a living.
You're not wrong.
And I mean, this is Zelda 2, so I mean, Link is no longer 12 years old, so he's got to reach manhood somehow. He's got a pocket full of rupees.
Pocket full of rupees and he's 12 years old.
Running around in these short shorts.
Terrible. Anyways, the game itself, super fucking fun. There's so many enemies that are actually like incredibly hard to play against. Like there's it does the like kind of cheap Nintendo thing of having an enemy and then making their color different to make them stronger, right?
Yeah.
So now it's just a number difference. Now you have to hit them 10 times and now they do 5 hearts of damage instead of 2, and
well, I mean, it saved memory space on the original consoles.
Well, absolutely, and I'm not faulting them for that. It's just there is definitely like some enemies in that game that are super hard to fight. Like there's these knights, right? And so in Legend of Zelda, Link's adventure, you can attack forward, and now in this game, your sword is fucking minuscule. Like it is tiny. It's more like a knife. If you attacked in this game, in fact, you should look up a picture right now of the attack range. Like it is it is
barely a pixel in front of your character.
Barely a pixel in front of your character. And but you do have a shield, and your shield's always like active, right? If you're in the right spot. So if an attack comes low and you duck and you're not attacking, you'll automatically block it, right? So that's really big, but now you have to be aware of that. Now there's some things you can't block just because, but now in this game, you've got this tiny little bitty attack frame, and you can attack like neutral in front of you, and you can duck down and attack low. But then you also unlock an ability later to attack in the air downwards, like a pogo kind of stick thing. And then you also unlock the ability to attack upwards in the air. And both of those are actually like kind of puzzle pieces, because there's things you need to break that are above and below you. And, it turns into a whole like Legend of Zelda thing. But as far as just combat goes, because you only have the ability to attack forward and then like low, and then you unlock those other ones, there are some knights in this game. There's some enemies, right? And so they start off as like gold. And the gold ones, they're pretty tough. They're almost like they have, because I played this game as a kid, in my head, I always thought these knights had like 50 arms, right? Because they have like, well, so they have this goofy ass walk animation. So like their legs are always kicking around. So it kind of just seems like they have like 50 legs. And so they move their shield up and down, and then also attack up and down. So you have to like, so the only good part about it is they have a tell. So they have a tell, and they'll put their arm back either up or down and then swing forward in the next like millisecond. So if you're just watching the back of them, it's actually like really fun. It became this like really interesting thing for me, where I'd get like totally in the zone and I could fight these knights. Well, you've got the original knight that's like golden, right? And then in this game, because unlike other Legends of Zelda games, as you kill opponents and pick up power-ups and collectibles, you actually level up. And so you get 3 statistics: magic, damage, and health. And so, in Legend of Zelda games, you pick up heart containers and you get pieces of the Triforce and you kill bosses, and that's how you get more health. You get a free level every time you beat a boss. And every time you get experience, it kind of caps out in this way that says like, you need 1,400 to get the next level of magic up, but you need 2,200 to get the next level of health up. So whenever you level up, you're always guaranteed an upgrade of one of the three, but it might not be the upgrade you want. So you could sit on that experience and then just level up again and not spend it, but it's much more like effective to just level up everything because you do use magic. Magic in this game is fucking crazy. You can actually heal yourself as a heal. You just turn mana into health. And so that alone becomes really, really important that you have as much mana as possible because it turns directly into health. But then there's so many puzzles that you have to use something stupid like high jump. High jump is a spell, and you can only get into certain areas by using high jump. So if you go through a dungeon and you get the shit kicked out of you by a knight who you didn't focus on properly and did a ton of damage to you, so now you use some mana to heal yourself. Now you don't have enough mana to activate high jump, or even worse, you don't have enough mana to activate fairy. And fairy is a spell that just turns you into a fucking fairy. So you can fly around for one screen, and it costs, depending on how much mana you have, but almost traditionally it costs like half of your mana available. And so you spend half of your mana so you can fly over one fucking pit in one dungeon. And if you didn't get to that area with enough magic to cast fairy, you have to go back. And now not only do you have to go back, you have to go out of the dungeon, back on the world screen, to the closest town, talk to the whore and the old lady, get your health and your magic back, and then trek all the way back through. Now, some of the enemies have respawned, but not all of the enemies. So it does work in like a grind way where if you really, like if there's a really hard spot, yeah, you could do that. Go kill one of the like static enemies that doesn't come back, go back, heal. It would just be a huge slog. And so instead of doing that, I tried to, like not excel at the game, but be good enough that I didn't have to cheese anything. And the whole fucking experience was amazing. I love that game so much. I'm very sad that I kind of borked my own save, but
you should be happy because now you could relive it from the start again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like getting blackout drunk and watching a movie again. Like, oh.
I will say, like, one of the aspects of this is, Zelda 1 being a top-down adventure game and stuff. So kind of like set a specific style. In Zelda 2, the designers, they wanted to like completely change it. They wanted to do it's not that they wanted to do like a different game. They wanted to see what else they could do with this concept. And so that's why you have the side-scrolling adventure with the XP mechanics and item use and stuff. But it was a critical failure on release. And so they went back to the top-down look for subsequent games and kind of
Link to the Past specifically being the next game released.
Well, the next game was Link's Awakening for the Game Boy, but I mean,
for
my main console, yes,
God.
Link to the Past.
Link's Awakening.
No. But it's like it's one of those things where looking back, during this time, these consoles had a bunch of adventure games and stuff. So it's like Zelda was just like one in a pile of many. In the RPG mechanics was actually pretty rare. A lot of people weren't playing a whole lot of RPGs at the time. There was a lot, obviously Final Fantasy came out and stuff like that, but it's like it wasn't this huge genre at that time. And so it's weird that like Zelda tried to break out of like the big pit of every other game to this distinguish itself, and then they quickly like reverse that course. And then you come to the modern times and it's like everything has RPG mechanics, and Zelda and Mario is like one of the last holdouts that don't put RPG mechanics in their games. It's kind of weird, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, there have definitely been instances where they tried, like Link 2, I'm sorry, Legend of Zelda 2, Link's Adventure, and then you remember Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. Ooh,
I mean,
that was
that
rare, wasn't it?
That and like Paper Mario is like
Paper Mario.
Those are kind of like subgenres. Like they still have their main genre of Mario, which is strictly platforming, and then they created the subgenre of the RPG stuff. And yeah. And you can argue like there's stuff in like Breath of the Wild that is kind of a form of these RPG mechanics, but still it's like not really. Breath of the Wild is mostly a new form of adventure.
Yeah, I mean, kind of
like
did its own
survival
thing.
adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely kind of like did its own thing. There's just so much content in that game.
Yeah.
You could really just run around forever and be like, oh, this is crazy. Oh, I didn't really.
So, um, and I say this as a point of like, I love the fact that they don't, because I think a lot of games put those in when they don't need it. And it's just meant to be arbitrarily time gating to force you to grind out levels to do content. Cough, cough, Assassin's Creed, cough, cough.
How subtle.
I'm sorry, I must be getting a cold or something. So, what would be like your favorite boss of Zelda 2?
Ooh, it's a tough one, but there's my favorite boss in Zelda 2, Link's Adventure, is one particular boss. It's a wizard, and you cannot beat it unless you get a spell. And you have to go back to this village and do this particular set of tasks to get a spell, because there's almost always one spell in every village. And so you get this spell. It's the only way you can hurt him. It's the only way you can interact with him. It's the only way you can beat this boss. And then you don't really have to use it for anything else. It's just completely gating you out of this boss. It's not like they're gating you out of it and forcing it because there's like it's a very important mechanic that you have to use throughout the game. They just say, fuck you, find this spell or don't go any further. And that made me laugh so hard. It was just so silly. It's like, are you kidding me? I really have to like there's so many things in that game that are specifically made just to artificially make the game longer. But that's like, it's such a neat thing to see in gaming, because it's like, you're like, oh, right, that's what they used to do. They had a super limited amount of memory available, so they couldn't do everything they wanted to, right? They weren't unlimited. And so because of that, they did what they had to do. And so they'd make a game be 10 hours because.
Right. I mean, related to what I was just talking about, it's like the difference between how they did it here and how like Assassin's Creed does it would be like changing a Zelda 2 is like changing a 2-hour game to a 10-hour game, whereas Assassin's Creed changes a 10-hour game into a 70-hour game.
Right. So yeah, like 10 out of 10 Triforces, 10 out of 10 heart containers.
But that only gives you 2.5 hearts.
I only need 2.5 hearts. It's a great game.
All right. Well, go back and play it again, and then come at me when you beat the boss.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna definitely come back and do a little mini update and be like, hey, by the way, fuck that game. The last boss, fucking Ganon's the worst. I hate it. I never want to play it
again. All right. Well, my game this week is it kind of got shadow released this week, and nobody's talking about it, and that's such a shame because everybody should be playing this. Certainly, I'm not seeing it anywhere on Reddit, anywhere on Twitch. Nobody's talking about this game.
No,
it's it's Stray. Stray is a game where you play as a cat in the cyberpunky universe, and it's fantastic. It released for I believe PC and PS5, PS4, PlayStation, any of it. But so one of the things was normally we record on Monday. We record this show on Monday. And so Monday happened. It's like, hey, I actually want to talk about this game this week. And normally when a game releases on Tuesday, they'll release the game at like 11 p.m. the night before, for the digital release kind of thing. So it's like, hey, let's push back recording. I want to play this game tonight. I'm going to stay up all night, play this game because it's just like a small indie game anyway. And then we'll record tomorrow and talk about it more. They never released it. So the thing is it wasn't just a digital copy. They were trying to release it for people who pay for the PlayStation Plus Premium. So if you pay for that extra, the like highest tier service of the new PlayStation Plus program, you actually get this game without having to pay for it. And so because they're doing that, they didn't release this at 11 p.m. the night before. They released it the next morning of its like actual release date. So that meant I had to wait till I got out of work on Tuesday to play it, and that meant I couldn't. I didn't have enough time played to do an episode on it, and also I was pretty damn tired afterwards. So it's just like Tuesday. It's like, hey, let's push back the recording. So all that said, we're now recording Saturday afternoon. Like, and right after this recording, I immediately have to edit it to get it prepared to launch tomorrow. But I did finish the game.
This is the important part.
Yeah. So that's just a funny behind the scenes anecdote of what happened this week. So this game is made by Annapurna. I know how the name sounds. Okay, it's not that I don't know how to say the name. It's just my mouth doesn't say those names.
You don't
okay,
know how to say the name.
It's I words are hard. There's too many words. Annapurna interact. God damn you. Anyway, it's gonna annoy me. But they do a bunch of these like really amazing like small indie style games. They have all of them are pretty amazing. Like this studio hasn't released a stinker. They're just these small indie games. But this came out and it's like this is a game where you play as a cat and you do all the things that you would want to do if you play as a cat, which is meow a lot and trip over robots who are walking downstairs and knock bottles over and stuff. And it's amazing.
And it's amazing.
So one of the things is the story is set in this underground city. There's no humans around, like a plague has come by and wiped them all out. But the humans had built all these robots with AI. And the robots, they understand that the humans died off, but they don't understand why humans did certain things. Like there's one robot who talked about how this human he knew used to listen to music all the time. And he's like, I never understood why he did it. But now after 300 years of living without this human, it's like, I kind of want to emulate him and see if I can feel the emotions he felt while listening to music. So there's this robot that just like plays the guitar and stuff just because he remembers the human that he was built by playing the guitar. He plays it very bad. It's like completely out of tune and stuff, which makes it very funny.
That's awesome.
It's just those like little things where it's just like the humans just had a normal human routine and these robots are trying to figure out why the routine exists. And you just play as a cat that kind of weaves its way through the world. The main plot is the cat kind of finds this little robot buddy, and the robot buddy is like trying to help the cat find its way outside of this underground city to get back with its family. And so
Horrible.
Everybody all these robots are like, you can't go outside. Outside is stupid. Nobody goes outside kind of thing. Well, there's a small clique of like,
you're not the mayor, I'm the mayor. Nobody goes outside.
There's a small clique of like 5 robots who have wanted to go outside. And so they actually like tried to find a way outside. And then there's like these security drones and stuff that are there to keep everybody from going outside because they were programmed before humans died to keep everyone in here because of a plague. And so there's no human around to turn off that security precaution. So these robots, these security bots are just like, there's a plague outside, you can't go outside, you know.
Yeah.
So using this little robot buddy that is always in a pouch on your cat's back, like the cat gets this harness with a little robot pouch.
No, it has clothes. The cat has clothes. Oh.
Runs around in a poncho, waves a lightsaber. Wait, that's a different game. So
the only good part about Monster Hunter.
Through this robot buddy, you actually talk to the other robots, and that's how you kind of get the story told to you. That's how you kind of like figure out some of the puzzles and stuff. There's things like, oh, you talk to this robot who's sitting at a cafe, and he's like, man, I can't believe I lost the keys to my shop. All I was doing was walking through the sewers. And so then you go down to the sewers, you find the keys, and then you can open up the shop, and that gives you whatever next puzzle piece you needed to get the main story objective.
Good progression.
So it's like these little puzzle things. So it's story progression. It's not character progression. There's no like, you're not leveling up your ability to meow louder, you know. It's just
throw the whole game away. Get it out of here. No RPG settings in a post-apocalyptic cat game.
Right. So you're just going around, and it's all story puzzles. The environments look amazing. It's this like dystopian cyberpunky universe, which is literally just because the robots don't understand how to maintain things, and they don't have that ability to realize that they're literally sitting in a pile of trash right now.
Right. You know? But why would they care? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. I love the design of this game and the design of the
they're
world.
robots. Like, robots don't care about trash. It's like, it's uncomfortable for a person because we grew up like, well, I mean, first off, there's actual physiological reasons, like trash is gross and not hygienic.
But I mean, that's the
if you're
point,
a robot,
though, that's the hygienic, and hygiene doesn't bother robots.
Fucking yeah, they're down as hell. They're like, dude, trash, filth, love it. That's my jam. May I have some more?
So
do you have any filth?
I mean, there's the only enemy in the game is like these little bug things, and it's really cool because at first everyone talks about these bug things. They're like they're an infestation, and they eat robots and stuff, and your first experience is you have to like run away from them, and if they attach to you, then they'll like slowly suck out your blood. They're like these big ticks. Well, as you go further into the story, you realize that the whole problem was because of a plague, the humans like built these underground cities to help keep themselves quarantined. Then trash started to build up. So the humans developed an organism to eat the trash. It's like a little bacteria that will dissolve trash. And the hundreds of years after humans died off, those organisms evolved. And so now they're like tick size, and they've found a way to like eat through metal and shit. So now they're a plague on the robot society. It's like
it comes back around.
But it's like this really cool like world building kind of system, and it's just these little small doses that like paint the bigger picture, and I loved it. So one of the things is once the game launched, obviously everybody's posting to Reddit and stuff, but there's a lot of these videos that are out of people playing this cat game. And in the game, you actually have a dedicated button to sit there and meow for as much as you want. There's a trophy to meow 100 times, which I got in the first 5 minutes. And so everyone's posting these videos of while they're playing the game, their cat is like attacking the TV or meowing back and stuff, and try to interact with the cat in the game. So I get home, load up the game, and I'm like, oh, my two cats are gonna enjoy this. And I'm sitting on the couch playing the game, meowing 100 times in 5 minutes and stuff. My cats don't even lift an eyeball.
No, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I keep looking. I'm like, hey, Jack, look, it meow, meow, meow. And he just kind of looks at me like, why did you acknowledge me? I was happily asleep and then you acknowledged me. Like, man, I don't have any fun cats.
They're fun.
They're fun in their own way. But yeah. So I didn't get that kind of experience, but
You just have to get more meowier cats.
I don't know. I just gotta. I think what it is I play with them so much in my own way, mostly irritate them to hell and back. That it's like, hey, look, here's a digital cat, and now I'm not actively touching them, so now they're happy. It's like a little 5-hour game. There's a trophy to beat it within 2 hours. It's just a lovely little experience into this world that they built. And I will say it is kind of weird. I mean, I know they're robots and stuff, and this is the first time they've ever seen a cat, but it's weird that their innate I wouldn't say programming, but like their first idea is to go when a cat comes up and meows to them, be like, hey, can you help me out? I'm looking for 3 different colored flowers to make some new paint. Go find me red, blue, and yellow. Like, it's a cat. You just gave a task list to a cat. I'm playing as a cat. I'm obviously gonna go find these flowers and stuff. It's like, have you ever asked a cat to do anything? So, as far as everything else goes, like that's probably the like least realistic thing. Is all these robots giving a task list to a cat.
I've heard crazier.
And the music is like wonderfully like rustic techno style.
You've sold me on the game.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it's fucking gorgeous. It's like it's just relaxed enough that you can like play it leisurely with enough adrenaline that you're not like falling asleep kind of thing. You know?
Right. Right, just good enough.
Yeah. Oh, this is definitely an enjoyable time, and highly recommend it. 100 meows out of 100.
Don't lie, there was thousands of meows.
Oh, of course.
I would.
There's
love
no
to
stat
see...
tracker after 100. At 100, you get the trophy, and then it stops counting.
Like at this point, you're good. You're good.
Right?
We get it. It's over. It's well over 100. Good fucking review.
Yeah, it's like a really good iteration of a realistic cat mechanics, and gives you exactly what you want. A game where you can run around, meow at robots, and trip them on the stairs.
10 out of 10.
Yep. So, yeah. Thank you for listening. That's our show for this week, which is like mostly news oriented, but still.
Hey, we solid two solid little games.
Hey, I also wasn't expecting last week to talk about Cuphead for like an hour and a half. So.
But it was great.
That?
It was great. I loved last week's episode.
I just last week, basically how it ended up was we talked so much about our games that the most significant edit I can make was just completely cut out the general topic / news section. So only on the Patreon's extended version will you get that. If you listen to us on like Spotify or iTunes, you only get the games, which I'm sure some of you liked more. But we did talk about a bunch of stuff. I remember none of it.
It was a good one.
Last week's episode being the one where we talked about like Rockstar and Ubisoft being really scummy companies and some of their practices. So if you want to check that out, go to our Patreon and subscribe to get the extended version where we rant about like 50 minutes on that topic. So you can catch us on Patreon if you'd like to subscribe to that, get our extended videos. It's $3 for the tier. Right now we have 3 subscribers, which is Jake Pinley, our good friend from New Mexico.
Jake.
Like Taylor Loch Ness, who's a friend of me and my sister's up here in Wisconsin. And then
that guy. Your mom.
Yeah. My mom like subscribed this week. So awesome.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Chuck's mom.
My mom subscribed. Where's your mom, Travis?
Slacking, dude. Fucking slacking. Just slacking. Sorry, mom. Oh no.
Mom, can I have $3 to subscribe you to this Patreon?
No, she already pays for my Rust skins. So Hey mom, someone called me a noob. someone called me skinless in my game, mom.
Buy me this pirate skin so I look cool.
Cool. Man,
you could find us on Twitter at toomanygames2. You can find this podcast on everywhere podcasts are available, like Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. We have a Gmail at toomanygamespodcast@gmail.com. You can catch us at. You could high five us on the street if you see us,
dude. Yeah, come and find me. See what happens. I'm a coward.
Last little update is probably until the new year, we're going to switch the format model of uploads where we're going bi-weekly. So like I did that movie podcast with my sister a couple weeks ago. Next week we're going to be uploading our next movie, which will be Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. And my God, was that an experience?
A pile of shit.
I would honestly rather watch
Resident Evil again.
Resident Evil 5 more times before watching Prince of Persia again.
Means it's really good, right?
Yeah. There's a reason why I completely forgot about it for 12 years.
Because it's so good.
It was so good. I did not need to watch it again. I just had to completely forget it so I can re-experience it and remind myself how good it was. So next week will be our Prince of Persia review. So expect that. And then we're going to be doing bi-weekly. So every other week you'll have this gaming show, and then that is interspliced with a movie review. So in the movies, because it's on this platform, we're focusing on video game movies. Like I said, probably until the beginning of next year, and then I'm going to work on a way to have its own platform, and then we're going to expand out from video game movies, and we'll see what happens. I mean, that's like 5 months. So all in all, I mean, like I've been having a lot of fun this summer doing this stuff. So
that's the important part.
It's like previously, it's just like you find that one guy at work that knows video games or knows movies, and then you talk to them, and then you can't wait to get to work so you can talk more movies with them, kind of thing. Like, so I now have that in podcast where I can just sit here and talk for hours and interrupt Travis and talk over Travis. And even if he brings a game to talk about on the show, I'll take over the game and talk about my own experiences with it.
That's the best part about this whole thing. You do all the work.
All right. Thank you all for listening.
We'll come back and see us anytime now.
Hell yeah. Keep checking us out. Give us some 5-star ratings on iTunes because I said so and you love me. Good night.
Goodbye.